Hey guys, Yusuf here with Tech Central Reviews, and today we'll be taking a look on how to install Macintosh on a PC that is not made by Apple. So basically this is called a Hackintosh. Let's start by going over the things you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is a USB pen drive. This is going to have to be 8 gigabytes or more. Here I have a 16 gigabyte pen drive just in case. You're also going to need, well, if you want to dual boot Windows and Mac at the same time, you're going to need a Windows installation CD or USB, which I have here for Windows 7 Ultimate. This is useful if you want to be able to dual boot between Windows and Mac at the same time, so when you turn on the computer you can choose between either of the two partitions on the drive. Now, if you want to only use Mac on the computer, then you can basically disregard the second half of the video where I begin installing Windows. I will also give you a heads up when there's an extra step that you won't need if you are doing a Macintosh only. Also, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments down below, and I will make sure I try to answer as many of those questions as I can, or give you a link to some help forum or something online. Another important thing you're gonna need is a Mac. If you have to already have a Mac. However, if you do not already have a Mac, which is needed to install the sort of the Yosemite install application to the USB, then do not worry, because there's a way to do it through Windows. However, this requires a virtual application that will create sort of a virtual Macintosh inside your PC. It will run very slowly because it will be sharing the RAM as well as the CPU with your current Windows operating system. However, don't fear, because once you load Macintosh, it won't be running as slow because we'll have access to the full amount of cores as well as the full amount of RAM. So right now, well, I actually do have a Mac computer, but my mom doesn't want me using it because she doesn't want me to mess it up. So I'll actually be running the virtual thing, but you could basically follow my steps as soon as I run the virtual thing. If you have a Mac, you could just follow my steps on what I'm doing once I start running the virtual software. The application that I will be using is called Virtualbox. This is a free to use application. I will be leaving links down below for everything that I talk about in this video, whether it be the Clover installation guides, which I'll get into later, the Virtualbox downloads, anything that I talk about in this video, I will make sure to leave a link down below. Okay, so the first thing you guys want to do is install Virtualbox. So I'll leave a link down in the description, but I already have it installed. So once you open Virtualbox, you're basically gonna get set up like this. Now, really quickly, I'm running version 5.0.8. So make sure you're running a version around this to ensure compatibility. You're also going to need the yosemitezone.iso. I'll also leave another link for this down in the description. This is basically what is going to help you. This is basically the system image for Mac. I'd like to give a huge shout out to TechGeek1019 because I was following his video and he's the one who helped me basically set this all up. Okay, so let's put that aside for now. So the first thing you want to do is you want to press new, then you want to type in whatever, well, basically we'll just put Mac OS X. Oh, hold on, let me do that. Mac OS X. Then you want to make sure that it's Mac OS X 64-bit. Otherwise, Yosemite will not work unless it is 64-bit. Then you want to press next. Now, I'm going to give it around, I'd say, 2.5 gigs of storage, of RAM. Not storage, RAM. So, if you have 6 gigabytes of storage, I'd recommend giving it around 2.5 gigs. If you have less than that, do not give it anything more than that, because that will affect your performance for your Windows PC. You want it to be a Virtualbox disk image, VDI, press next, dynamically allocated, press next. Now, I'd recommend changing this to 40 gigabytes because that way it would run better. Then press create, and now that we have this, make sure you do not double tap this yet. We do not want to get this started. Right now we're going to go under settings, Then we're going to go to System. Then we're going to make sure we disable EFI. Then we're going to go to Display, and we're going to ramp up the video memory as far as it can go. Then we're going to go under Storage. We're going to highlight empty. We're going to press this little CD thing, and then we're going to press Choose Virtual Optical Disk File. Now you want to locate wherever you put your Yosemite Zone.iso file. I put it on the desktop, so I'll just press Desktop, Yosemite Zone.iso, Open, and then now that that is added, we can leave that alone. Now we'll go under USB, and I'd recommend enabling USB 2.0 because that's just faster. So I enabled USB 2.0 here. Well, we'll just leave it to USB 1.1 because USB 2.0 requires external, an additional pack to download. So now that we have this set up, press OK, and it'll save those settings. Now, you want to open command prompt. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go here and you're going to type in cmd, then you're going to run that, and then you want to cd to your virtual disk drive. So type in cd space, leave that blank for now, go to File Explorer, and then type in, well, find your virtual disk wherever that is, I mean your VirtualBox. So mine would be under local disk C, program files, Oracle VirtualBox. Then you can just drag that in here, close that, enter this. I already pasted the code, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to press Alt space at the same time, and then edit, paste, and then press, oh yeah, before you press enter, make sure you go back and you replace this with whatever the name of the system you created was. I named mine Mac OS X. If you were following the tutorial on how you named it, it should be named Mac OS X like it is named here. Now you can go back all the way till here, and then you can run that. Now we're basically ready to roll. So you can now begin by running this. You can either double tap or press start. I just press start because I don't know, I just press start. You could do whatever you want. Now you're going to give it some time and it should load up. Okay. And then you want to press -V. Enter. Now you basically want to give this some time because this will take some time. So you're going to leave this to run. Okay. So right now what it's doing is it's reading these files called HFS files. Now Mac uses a type of format called HFS Plus, and this is how Mac reads all its files, and that's why it was crucial for us to use a custom ISO for Mac and basically a special kind of thing for Mac, not just a common thing, and that's why we had to specify that this was for Mac OS X 64-bit and nothing else. So this will for sure take some time, so I'm gonna leave this running for a while and I'll come back when it's done. Okay. Once you see this command, Bluetooth HCI controller start, that's when you're gonna see the Mac mouse, and that's when you know that you've basically been successful so far. Now, here we have the installer for Mac. It's going to be very laggy, I'm warning you, because it's going to be sharing cores with the CPU. It's going to be running off of the same RAM for the CPU, so don't be afraid if it's acting up. Doesn't matter, because this is just to create installation media for our Hackintosh. So press next, and give that some time. Then you want to press continue. Okay, keep in mind, okay, that doesn't matter. Continue, agree. Okay, now, here you don't see a disk, and the reason why is because right now, our disk is not formatted correctly for Mac to read. So you're going to go under Utilities, Disk Utility, and then you're gonna basically find that around 40 gigabyte disk that we created. You're gonna go under the erase tab, excuse me. You're gonna make sure this is format is Mac OS Extended Journal. You're gonna rename it to Mac. Oops. I'm gonna rename that to Mac OS X, and you're gonna press erase and erase. Now this will take some time, so you can see the progress down here, but just basically leave that. Oh, that was fairly quick. Okay, now you can close this, and now you'll see Mac OS X. So select that, press continue, and this will take a long time. It says 16 minutes. It may take longer than 60 minutes. Do not worry. I will definitely be coming back in a while once this is finished. Another thing you want to keep in mind is you want to look at this hard drive and CD thing, and if you look at the hard drive, you're going to see a red dot that's blinking. Now keep in mind and make sure you take that into account that there's a red dot blinking, because later you're going to see why this is very necessary. Okay, once you hit about 2 minutes remaining, what you're going to notice is that the line is basically going to stop moving, and it's actually done. So once you hit that point, you're actually done. So you don't just close in, you don't just leave out. What you're going to do is you're going to go up here, then you're going to select machine, then you're going to press reset, then you're going to press reset. Okay, now once you get to this screen, there's basically a couple things you're going to have to type out. You're going to have to type out -s space -v-n. Another thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select this Mac OS X, because you don't want to have it on the Yosemite zone. You want to have it on the Mac OS X, which is the one we just did. So once you have these selected, these three, so this might take a while as well, but it doesn't matter, we'll just let it run. Basically the -n is going to let us type in commands as the system boots up, which is going to be necessary. Okay, so right now it's asking bash-3.2. So what this is doing is it's asking us for a command. So if you look right about here, aligned with the mouse, I can't hover the mouse over this, you're going to see two commands, one here and one slightly below it, in these two locations. Now, these are the two commands we're going to need. So we're going to start by copying the first one. We're going to put -sbin -fsck space -fy. Okay, now we're going to run this. We're going to let that do whatever it needs to do. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to check the hard drives, check the partitions, check everything, make sure everything is set up right. It's going to change, repair anything that needs to be repaired, but it's basically going to set us up for Mac. So we're going to leave that running. This might take a while. Okay, now once we're at this point, it's going to ask for another command. Now this time it's going to be asking for the second command. The second command, you may or may not need to run it twice, but it doesn't matter. You're going to type in -sbin -mount, no space, space after it, -uw space / and then you're going to type enter. Okay, yep, looks like we're going to need to run it again. -sbin -mount space -uw space / enter. Okay. Okay, so at this point we're going to want to start running some of the other commands that we have. So I have them all here. So I'm going to put this on the side. I'm going to put this next to it. And here I have all the other commands that I'm going to need. So I'm going to select this, press enter. Then I'm going to type in cd space dash dot. Oh, whoops, it wasn't typing. Okay. Why is it not typing? Okay, there we go. cd space dash dot capital OS, and then if you hit tab it should fill it in. Enter, do not hit enter. After that you're gonna type in dash, well the dash is already there, you're gonna type in scripts. Oh whoops, you're gonna type in capital S scripts dash, then you're gonna run that. Okay, the next command is pretty easy. All you're gonna do is you're gonna type in ls. So ls, and you should see a bunch of stuff come up, and there we go. And then after this we're gonna type in cd space Hackintosh dot capital Z, then we're gonna hit tab, then we're gonna type in dot po tab. Okay, so now that we have that, then the reason that you want to hit tab and not just type in anything randomly is because it's going to be different for every system. So you want to make sure that you press tab and that you don't just copy what I have here, because what I have here will not work on your system for sure, guaranteed. So after this you just want to hit enter. Okay, give it some time. Well, there we go. And then you want to type in dot, well, so you want to type in dot dash post install. Then you want to hit enter. Then it should start running some more things. You're going to want to give this some time for sure, because this will also take quite a while. So we're going to leave that running. Okay, this next command is the simplest command ever. You're just going to type in exit enter. Don't worry about any of the errors, it's just like customary, just leave it. They're not really errors, it's just basically the system talking to itself, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So you could just leave anything alone while it's running. Just don't worry if it says warning, error, anything like that. Doesn't matter. Right now it's rebuilding the cache, which will take some time because it was wiped during the installation. Okay, waiting for DSMOS. Okay, it's starting to activate the controllers, which is good because now remember this command. This command basically means that our mouse is working. So here we have the mouse here. Let's test it. Drag it over here, and there we go. We have a working mouse. So now if we give this some more time to load, it should boot into the system by itself. Hopefully. So now we don't have a loading symbol anymore, and there we go. So now we're basically at the installer. So this is a really simple setup. Continue, continue, continue. Now it's basically very. For now, I'm gonna skip the ID because we're gonna have to reboot the system later, anyways. Basically, after I'm done with this installer, what I'm gonna want you to do is, before you start any of the next steps, I'd like it if you could sign into iCloud and then just download. You could literally open the App Store, type in Mac OS X El Capitan, and then press install, and then leave that running. If it tells you anything, just press OK or skip or whatever, and just leave it running in the background. It will take some time because this is going to be a multi-gigabyte file, and then once you're done installing it, then you'll be perfectly ready for the next video, and you won't have to wait to install it, because that's what we're going to be doing in the next part of this video. Maybe we don't. Well, we could. Yeah, sure. So now I'll just leave this running. It's creating an account for you. So you want to make sure you uncheck send diagnostics and usage data to Apple, because we're running a Hackintosh and you do not want that, sending things to Apple. So right now it's setting up the Mac, and we should see the full screen in a second. And okay, maybe a little more than a second. But it'll open up anytime now, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Just give it some time to load up. And there we go. We are done. This is a working Macintosh inside of Windows. So let that sink in for a second. It will be laggy, but it doesn't matter, because we just need this to install Mac to a USB. Okay. So may I ask you for some stuff that it needs to set up. Meanwhile, you could just leave it alone for now. One final thing. Okay guys, what we will be doing now is creating the bootable USB. Here I have it labeled as USB, and if you guys are having trouble getting it to appear in the virtual machine, basically what you want to do is you want to go down here, and if you see this kind of USB looking thing at the bottom, if you just press it, or right click on it rather, you will get these settings. And what you want to do is you want to select the USB that you have plugged in, and once you select it, it will immediately be integrated into the VirtualBox. So now you could have that USB in your VirtualBox. So I have it right here. So what you want to do is you want to go under Launchpad. Don't be afraid if everything is laggy like this, because that's not how it's going to be on the actual machine once you create a partition on the drive, so it runs independently. So what you want to do is you want to select your basically your USB. This is the partition we created for the Mac. This is the USB. I have my 16 gig USB right here. What you want to do now is you want to go under partitions. Now at this point it kind of varies. If you're gonna do just Mac, then you want to only do one partition. If you want to do Windows, then you do two partitions, and on the first partition you'd put the Mac software, you'd call it Mac, so you'd select the first one, name it Mac OS X, and format it as Mac OS Extended Journaled. Then you'd select the second one and format it as MS-DOS FAT. Now this is what Windows files read. So we won't be doing that for now. We'll just be running Mac for now. So we'll just have it one partition, Mac OS X Extended Journal. I'm going to put the name as USB. Make sure under options, make sure it's under GUID partition table. Anything else will not work. Press OK and apply. If you see the USB disappear from here, that's okay, because that means it's just unmounting the drive and then remounting it. It'll appear soon. You're gonna need a couple things. Once this finishes, I'll go over them. Okay, so now that this is done, it mounted up here, so I'll just drag that over there. Okay, so there's gonna be a couple things you're gonna need. All these things are gonna be in the description. So Clover is the application that will create the EFI or the bootloader for your USB drive. Post installation and multi-beast are used to install sort of drivers, and they're called KEX, but what they do is they kind of make sure that your system can be compatible with Mac OS X Yosemite. So these we will not be using right away. These are basically the last step, these two. Over here we have Clover Configurator. This is also part of the last step. This is when you want to edit something later on. Oh, your graphics card isn't working. You'd go through this. If your graphics card is Nvidia, you'd select Inject Nvidia and press Apply, and boom, you'd reboot your system and your graphics card would be working. No CPU power management is used if you don't have the right DSDT for your system, which I'm not going to go over in this system because that's a completely different thing. That is very complicated because every single system is different. If you can find someone running the exact same system as you who has uploaded a perfect working DSDT, then you do not need this. However, for everyone else, they will need this, because basically what happens is, as Mac boots up, if it finds that the CPU is not working correctly, it will go into panic mode, where it will basically run a bunch of scripts over the boot screen and then it will restart itself, and we don't want that. So this will stop that because it will no CPU power management. FakeSMC.kext is basically the most essential thing. That's the only thing that you need 100% guaranteed, otherwise it will not boot into Mac. HFSplus.EFI is all stuff for the EFI partition, so that integrates directly with the bootloader. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to install Clover into the EFI partition of the USB. So you're going to open this Clover v2. By the way, I'll have links for all of these things in the description so you could get them. Okay, if you get this message, that's okay. Just press OK. Close it for now. Go under System Preferences, and then under Security and Privacy, you're gonna select, you're gonna press the lock, and you're gonna type in your password, and then you're gonna press Anywhere, Allow from Anywhere, then you're gonna close that. And then you can try running it again, and then it should work. Okay, I'm gonna close this. Okay, so this is the Clover EFI installer. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna press Continue, Continue. Then you want to make sure that you press Change Install Location. So press Change Install Location. You do not want to install it here. You're going to select USB. Once you have USB selected, you're going to press Continue. Then you're going to press Customize. Now this is where it gets tricky, because there's going to be a certain procedure. There's going to be certain things you're going to have to press. You're going to select Install Clover in the ESP. Then under Bootloader, you're going to make sure that it's on Install Boot 0 SS in MBR. So you want to press this, and then under Clover EFI, you want to make sure you have 64-bit SATA, which is correct, and drivers, and then you're gonna go down here, and then you want to make sure you have drivers 64 UEFI. Under that, you want to make sure you have EMU variable UEFI 64, and basically that's all you need. So then you're gonna press Install. You're gonna let that, oh yeah, it's gonna ask for a password, make sure you put that in, and then you're gonna let it install. So this is basically okay. Once the installer is done, you should see USB appear here, and when you open it, you're gonna find a very important folder called EFI. So this is where we're gonna be putting all of, well, not all of, but a lot of these files. So 1 second, let me drag these back. Okay, so now what you want to do now is basically, right from this point, it's really simple. You're just gonna drag some files from here into here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go under EFI, Clover. You want to make sure that this file exists. Right now I'm gonna edit it really quickly, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press open with other, then come on, oh, here we go. I want to open it with text edit, open, and then right now I have an Nvidia GTX 470. So I'm gonna look for something like Intel graphics. So I for sure do not have Intel. Oops. Okay, duplicate. Okay, I for sure do not have. Okay, cancel. Let's close this because it's not letting me edit right now. Okay, so we'll close this and then we'll edit this. So okay, so I do not have Intel graphics, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in false. But under Nvidia, I want to make sure that's true because the graphics I have are Nvidia graphics. Let's see what else. Okay, everything else looks fine. Everything else looks fine. So what I'm gonna do? Okay, where's it gonna save this? Okay, we're gonna config list, and let's save this to the desktop. Okay, save. Use list. Okay, so now we have it here. Let's drag this to here. Authenticate and replace the files. Type in your password and you should be good to go. Okay, so now that we have the config.list, which basically tells the system what you're gonna, like, how the system is configured, how it needs to boot up and everything like that. So now you want to go under drivers 64. So over here, and then you want to see this hfsplus.efi. It's going to be one of the files I'm going to link. You want to drag this into here. Oh yeah, you're going to need to be typing your password in a lot. Okay, and you're also going to need to put that under drivers 64 UEFI. So here too. So we're going to drag this, we're going to drop it here. Oops. Okay, while we're here, you're going to also need to delete this VBox HFS. So we're going to drag this into the trash. Delete. Oh my god. Okay, delete that. Go back, and then go back into driver 64 and delete this. Because we're basically replacing it with a different HFS file. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to go under kex, and we're going to go under 10.11 because this is going to be an OS X El Capitan install. So fakesmc.kext. Then we're also going to need null CPU power management. Just going to go right next to that. Alright, so now we basically have everything set up here. So what we want to do now is we need to copy the Yosemite or not the Yosemite, my bad, the El Capitan installation files. So this can be done through a command. If you look here, and let me just close this out real quick. Where is it? Okay, here I have install OSXL Capitan. Make sure that this is in your applications folder. So here, when you hit Launchpad, make sure there's an install OSXL Capitan. And you can get this by going in the App Store, typing in El Capitan, and pressing Get. Okay. Okay, so this is the code we want. So, edit, copy, close this. Well, let's just minus that for now, in case we mess up. Edit, paste, run that. Interesting. Oh, I know why. We have to rename. Okay, hold on. So edit, paste. We have to rename LCAP installer to our USB drive. So that was literally named USB, all caps. So that's easy. Just call it that, and we'll just type in USB. And let's try running it like this. Hopefully this will work. Alright, there we go. That's good. So right now it's gonna erase the disk, and then it's gonna format it so it's like able to work with El Capitan, so that it can install it. This will take a while, so I'll just skip this part and I'll have it when it's finished. The first thing you want to do when you're getting ready to install Clover is you basically want to grab that USB that you configured earlier and installed OSXL Capitan on it with the custom Clover bootloader, and you're just gonna plug it into a USB port in your PC. So I just plugged mine in right now, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn on your computer, and while it's turning on, you want to boot into the setup or the BIOS settings. So what you want to do is you want to keep pressing, usually it's delete, sometimes it is F2. So what I'm going to do right now is, as the computer boots up, it's going to tell me on the bottom what I need to press, or at the top. So it says press F2 to run setup. So I pressed F2 and now it changed to entering setup. So I'm going to let that run and it's going to enter setup by itself. So from this point, the thing you want to do is you want to go under main, or no, under advanced. Then you want to go from advanced, you want to go down to integrated device. Then you want to press enter, and then you want to make sure that under configure SATA slot, you want to make sure that's AHCI, not IDE array. So make sure it is AHCI. So then you want to press escape, and now that that is like all set up and everything, you want to make sure that the boot device priority is from the hard drive at first. If you want, you could switch it to USB first, but that's just gonna mean that later you're gonna have to switch it back when you're trying to boot into your system, because it's gonna constantly be searching the computer for the USB to try to boot. So escape, discard changes and exit setup, because I already had the AHCI enabled, so I didn't really change anything. If you did change something, you'd press F10, which is save and exit. So discard changes and exit setup, okay. And we don't want the system to boot, so I'm going to power it off, and then I'm going to start it up again. Okay. So now you're going to want to boot from the USB. What you want to do is you want to select the boot menu for your computer. So you're going to go under F8, I believe, or F12. So for me it's F8, as you can see right here. Press F8 for boot menu. I selected F8 and now it's going to boot into the boot menu. From the boot menu you're going to see USB at the top. Well, it's different for every system, but what you want to select is USB, and then you're going to press enter. And now it's going to boot from the USB. So right now it's loading the custom bootloader, and hopefully if it loads, okay, it loaded, which is good. So now we have a couple different things. Right now it's showing the Windows drives because my Windows is currently installed on my hard drive, but we don't have to worry about those. So you want to go under boot OS install from OS X El Capitan Yosemite. I'm going to try to zoom in a little on that so you can read it. But it says boot OS X install from install OS X El Capitan. So you're going to hover over that, make sure there's that green light under it, then you're going to hit enter. And now you're going to let it run. After a while you should get to a screen that looks kind of like this. And from here the setup is pretty simple. You're going to press continue, or you can choose whatever language you want. And then from here you want to open disk utility. Do not open install OS X yet. So select disk utility, press continue, or you can double tap it, whatever floats your boat. And you're going to wait for that to run. And then what you're going to do is you're going to want to format your hard drives so that they work with Mac. So right now we have our first hard drive. We're going to go under erase. Then this is gonna be, hold on, let me double check. Let me make sure that this is okay, so this is my 1 terabyte hard drive. So I'm gonna install Windows on this 1 terabyte hard drive right here. I'm gonna install Mac on this hard drive. So for here I'm gonna go under erase. I'm gonna type in Windows. And I'm gonna make sure that it is MS-DOS FAT. Okay. Also select master boot record for actually leave it at GUID partition map. If anything goes wrong, Windows will automatically format it and make it however it wants it to be. So right now we're formatting the first hard drive. We're gonna wait for that, then we're gonna press done. Then we're gonna move on to the second one. Now this is where I'm gonna be installing Mac. So I'm gonna type in El Capitan. And then I'm going to make sure it's OS X extended journaled and GUID partition map, and I'm going to press erase. Okay. Do not touch any of these other drives. Make sure you do not touch any of these other drives. Okay, now we're going to press done. So after we're done with this, we can close this and we can go under install OS X, continue. Come on. And we're going to give it some time to load. Now the installation will take a while, so make sure you do it at an appropriate time when you have a lot of free time. So press continue, agree, agree. Then you want to make sure you install it not on Windows, not on the USB, but on El Capitan, the one you recently formatted. Press install, and now give this a lot of time because this will take forever. I'm gonna come back when this is finished, so we'll give that some time. The way I set up my drives was I had 2 hard drives, so I was able to set it up where I installed Mac on one of the hard drives and Windows on the other hard drive. If you had 1 hard drive, what you would do is you would go under the partitions tab, and then you would select 2 partitions, and then for the first partition you'd press on it should split up this like screen into 2 pieces. You'd press on the top one and you'd type in El Capitan, format it like we formatted El Capitan, and then on the bottom one you type in Windows and format it like we formatted the Windows one. Okay, the installer is almost done. It now says about a second remaining, so we'll see how long it takes. By the way, sometimes it may say about a second remaining and it could take an extra 5 minutes, so be patient because it's not always configured correctly for, because I believe that it has a certain speed set, and if you have a hard drive and the speed is set for an SSD, it might predict that it's gonna end up downloading much faster than it really does end up downloading, so make sure to give it some time. So I'll give it some more time while it finishes. Just a quick update, it now says OS X El Capitan about 0 seconds remaining, and also it has this like loading, I don't know if the camera will focus. Okay, the computer is rebooting, which is a good thing, so we'll give that some time. Alright. Once the computer reboots, you want to reboot into the boot menu, and then you want to select the USB again. Okay, press F8. Now you want to make sure it says boot menu has been selected. And USB, enter. Now we're gonna see only two things. We're gonna see boot OS X install from El Capitan, and next to that, oh crap, whatever. That's what I wanted to press anyway. Anyway, so you want to press boot OS X install from El Capitan to finish the installation. So let that run for a while. I'll come back when it's finished. Once it reboots, it's going to begin the installation of El Capitan officially. So this one should take much longer than the first installation. So we're going to give this some time, and after this, you can then unplug the USB and boot right into El Capitan. Once the installation is finished, boot back into the boot menu. Boot into the USB one final time. And ta-da! Okay, so now you're gonna see boot Mac OS X from El Capitan. And at this point you want to give yourself a pat on the back because you just installed Mac OS X and you're pretty much done. Now you just have to install the Clover bootloader to the hard drive so you no longer need the USB to install. So right now you can boot into your hard drive's OS X El Capitan. By the way, if you get any boot errors or you see like the screen turns off or something weird happens, just look online what that error is, and there's usually a guaranteed fix for it. And then you could usually it's in the form of a boot flag, which you can easily access by hitting the space bar before pressing enter, and it'll show you some available boot flags. Okay, so after you finish the setup, you should begin to see the OS X El Capitan loading screen, and as you can see, it is now very fast, very responsive. And if you see like the mouse get bigger, that's just a new feature in El Capitan where if you can't find the mouse on the screen, you just shake it really like fast and it'll just get larger momentarily. So now the next step is to install Clover onto the EFI partition of the hard drive, not the USB. Okay, if you see that error, simply go under System Preferences, Security and Privacy, click the lock at the bottom, enter in your password, and select Anywhere, and allow from anywhere. Then you can close that, and then you can run this, and then you can close that, and then you can run this again. Okay, change install location. This time you want to make sure that it is installing to the hard drive. So whatever you name the hard drive, it should be like very large amount of gigabytes or however many gigabytes your hard drive is. So select the hard drive, press continue, and then select customize. Now under customize, you're going to select install Clover in the ESP as we did before. Under bootloader, you're gonna press install boot 0ss in MBR, and then under Clover EFI, you're just gonna make sure it's 64-bit SATA. You're gonna go down a little bit. Under driver 64 UEFI, you're gonna select EMU variable UEFI 64. But now there's gonna be one more step. All the way at the bottom, you're gonna make sure you select install RC scripts on target volume, as well as install Clover preference pane. Then you're gonna press install, and you're gonna type in your password. I'm gonna begin that install, and you're gonna wait for it to finish. Okay, so after you run that installer, you should see EFI under Finder, and what you want to do is you want to open up EFI. So open up this folder, then you want to open up into the EFI folder on that folder, then you're going to open Clover, and then there's a couple files you're going to have to put here, kind of similar to what you did earlier. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go under config.plist and you're going to edit it. So I'm going to press open with, other, then I'm going to go to text edit, open, and then I'm going to find something about graphics cards. So Intel graphics, true, and I want to find, wait, actually no. Intel graphics, I do not want Intel graphics. So I'm going to change that to false. And then I'm going to find Nvidia, and I'm going to make sure that Nvidia is true. So after that, I'm going to keep going down, find anything else that's specific to my system. If you can't find anything, it's okay, just skip this. And if your computer doesn't work, if your computer worked perfectly the first time, then you don't have to worry about anything with this, because that just means that it's already working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Oops, did not mean to do that. File, save, and you can close that. Okay. Now, the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need that hfsplus.efi. It's right here. So this file should have been on your old Mac, and before transferring to the new one, you should have copied everything from the old Mac onto that USB installer so that you could bring everything with you onto the new Mac. So grab that hfsplus.efi folder, and then you're gonna open driver 64, and you're gonna paste this into there. And then you're going to remove VBox HFS-64, drop it in the trash, delete. Then you're going to do the same thing with driver 64 UEFI. Paste this here, delete VBox H64. Next step is installing your kex. So you're going to go back, kex 10.11, drag in fakesmc.kex, drag in null CPU power management. And you're pretty much done. So right now you are finished with creating your EFI partition for your hard drive. Oops, I did not mean to delete that. We just want to get rid of these. Okay. So now what you want to do is you want to get to installing all your drivers. So for example, right now if I try looking something up on the web, it might work, it might not. Let's try this. Google.com. Okay, you are not connected to the internet. So first thing we'll try, okay. So right now we need to install our drivers. So there's a couple things you can use. I'm gonna use this post installation tool, which I have, I'll have in the description of this video. So wait, is this gonna? Okay, no, we don't want this. We want custom Mac essentials.package. So this is gonna give us some of our like kex that we're gonna need that are kind of extra. So we're gonna go continue, agree, change install location, make sure it's El Capitan, continue, install. Okay, so now that I've got the internet working, because it worked, I'll test it out really quickly over here. Google.com, and as you can see, it loads up nice and good. So now we can open up Clover Configurator, and right now we're going to try and install a theme. So we're going to press Load Themes and Partitions. We're going to find Universe. That's my favorite one. It looks amazing. It is amazing. Believe me, it's good. Okay, and then you're going to press Download/Update, Install, Agree. Right now it's downloading a software called Xcode, which allows which allows Clover Configurator to interface directly with the terminal so that it can install all the required programs. So we'll give this some time. I'll be back when this is finished. Okay, once the software is installed, you could simply press Done, Download/Update, wait for that to finish, give it your password, and then you can close that out, open into your EFI under Finder. Oh yeah, you want to make sure you mount the EFI partition first. Okay, so what you want to do now is open up Clover Configurator, mount the EFI partition on disk OS1, which is the Macintosh. If you are only running Mac and not Windows, there should only be one. So press OK, then open Finder. You should find an EFI, open EFI, Clover, right click config.plist, open with other, scroll down, text edit, open, edit, find, type in theme, and let it find that. Like, this is supposed to say theme, this is supposed to say universe. Let's go. Okay, so now that we have that, I don't know why it's underlining it in blue. Did I spell it right? Let me make sure I spelled that right. UNIVERSE, UNIVERSE. Okay, it's just crazy. File, save, close that. Okay, close that. And now let's try restarting. Plug in your USB installation or CD installation for Windows 7. By the way, if you are only installing Mac, you are done at this point. You're done. You have a Mac, that's it. You're done. There's your Mac. However, if you want to install Windows as well, restart with your USB plugged in or your installer plugged in, and we'll get into installing Windows next.